Hello story lovers, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we re-diving into a heartwarming and slightly sticky fairy tale that has been told for generations. The Magic Porridge Pot. It's a story about kindness, a little bit of magic, and what happens when you forget a very important password. So, grab a comfy seat, maybe a snack of your own, and let's get started. Once upon a time, nestled in a cozy little cottage on the edge of a deep, green forest, lived a young girl and her mother. They were kind and good-hearted, but they were also very, very poor. Some days, their cupboards were so bare that they had nothing to eat at all. Their stomachs would rumble, and they'd dream of warm bread and hearty soup. Despite their struggles, the girl always kept a cheerful spirit and a helpful hand. One morning, with no food left in the house, the girl decided to venture into the forest to see if she could find some berries or nuts. The woods were quiet, with sunlight filtering through the tall trees, dappling the mossy ground. As she walked deeper among the ancient oaks and whispering pines, she came across an old woman sitting on a fallen log. The woman looked tired and frail, with kind eyes that held a hint of sadness. The girl, seeing her distress, approached her gently. "Good morning," she said with a warm smile. "Is everything all right? You look like you could use some help." The old woman looked up, surprised by the girl's kindness. She explained that she was weary from her journey and hadn't eaten all day. Without a second thought, the girl reached into her small pocket and pulled out the only thing she had. A tiny, dry piece of bread she had saved from the day before. "It's not much," the girl said, "but please, you have it. You need it more than I do." The old woman's eyes twinkled with a secret light. She was so touched by the girl's selfless act that she decided to reward her. "You have a heart of gold, my child," she said, her voice growing stronger. From beneath her cloak, she produced a small, unassuming iron pot. It looked plain and ordinary, but the old woman held it out as if it were the greatest treasure in the world. "This is no ordinary pot," she explained. "It is a magic pot. Whenever you are hungry, simply place it on the fire and say the words, 'Cook, little pot, cook.' It will instantly fill with the most delicious, sweet porridge you have ever tasted." The girl's eyes widened in disbelief. This was like a dream come true. "But," the old woman warned, her expression turning serious, "you must also remember how to make it stop. When you have had enough, you must say, 'Stop, little pot, stop.' Remember these words well." The girl thanked the old woman profusely, her heart filled with joy and gratitude. She carefully took the little iron pot and hurried back home, eager to show her mother their incredible fortune. When she burst through the cottage door, she found her mother looking pale and worried. "Mother, look!" the girl exclaimed, holding up the pot. She explained everything the old woman had told her. Her mother was skeptical at first, but the hope in her daughter's eyes was contagious. They placed the pot on their small hearth, and the girl, taking a deep breath, chanted the magic words, "Cook, little pot, cook." And just like that, a wonderful thing happened. The pot began to bubble and steam, and in moments, it was filled to the brim with creamy, sweet-smelling porridge. It was warm and delicious, better than anything they had ever tasted. They ate until their bellies were full and content. When they had finished, the girl confidently said, "Stop, little pot, stop." And instantly, the bubbling ceased. From that day on, their lives were transformed. Hunger was a thing of the past. Every day, the the little pot provided them with all the porridge they could eat. They were happy and healthy, and the constant worry that had shadowed their lives finally lifted. The girl and her mother never forgot their good fortune, and were always grateful for the magical gift. A few weeks later, the girl needed to go into the nearby village to run an errand for a neighbor. Before she left, she reminded her mother, "If you get hungry, just use the magic pot. Remember the words, cook, little pot, cook. To start it, and stop, little pot, stop. To finish." Her mother nodded, confident she remembered the simple instructions. The girl waved goodbye and set off on her journey, expecting to be back before nightfall. Around midday, her mother felt a pang of hunger. She smiled to herself, thinking of the wonderful magic pot. She placed it on the fire and said cheerfully, "Cook, little pot, cook." Immediately, the pot began to churn out its delicious, sweet porridge. The mother ate a hearty bowl, feeling satisfied and happy. But as she finished, she realized something dreadful. She had been so focused on the first command that the second one had completely slipped her mind. She tried to remember. "Halt, little pot, halt," she said. The pot kept cooking. "End, little pot, end." The porridge bubbled even faster. "No more, pot, no more." The porridge started to spill over the sides of the pot and onto the floor. Panic began to set in. The pot just wouldn't stop. It cooked and cooked and cooked. Porridge flowed out of the pot, across the kitchen floor, and into the living room. It crept under the door and began to ooze out into their small garden. The mother was frantic, but the pot was relentless. Soon, a river of warm, sweet porridge was flowing from their cottage and down the lane into the village. It filled the street, rising higher and higher. People came out of their houses, staring in astonishment. At first, some thought it was a wonderful treat and grabbed spoons to taste it. But the porridge kept coming. It flowed into shops, surrounded the church, and filled the town square. It was a porridge apocalypse. The entire village was slowly being buried in a sticky, sweet flood. Just when it seemed the whole town would disappear under a sea of porridge, the girl was on her way home. From the top of the hill, she saw the unbelievable sight. Her village was drowning in porridge. She knew instantly what had happened. She ran as fast as her legs could carry her, wading through the thick, warm goo that was now up to her knees. She finally reached her front door, pushed her way through the porridge-filled house, and saw the little pot still bubbling away furiously on the hearth. Without wasting a second, she shouted at the top of her lungs, "Stop, little pot, stop!" And at last, the magic pot obeyed. The bubbling ceased, and the cooking came to an instant halt. The river of porridge stopped flowing. The village was saved, but it was in a terrible mess. 4 days, everyone in the village had to eat their way back to their homes, clearing paths through the sticky streets. But no one went hungry, that's for sure. And so, life eventually returned to normal. The girl and her mother continued to use the pot, but they made sure to write the magic words down, just in case. The story teaches us a valuable lesson. Gifts, especially magical ones, come with responsibilities. It is a charming reminder to always listen carefully to instructions and to appreciate the things we are given, using them wisely. What did you think of that story? It's a classic for a reason. It's a fun, slightly messy tale about the importance of paying attention. If you enjoyed our story time today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more enchanting tales. We love sharing these stories with you, Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.